Hi, everyone. You're tuning into the 52 Healthy Habits podcast with Donelle and Marilyn, and we are happy to have you. Make sure you join our email list. You can do that in the show notes. We have the link to sign up for that and follow us on our social medias. Enjoy the show. You are listening to the 52 Healthy Habits podcast with Donelle and Marilyn. We have created this podcast to show you easy and attainable steps to have a more holistic lifestyle. Each week, we will share a show topic with you along with some segments on movement, nutrition, and essential oils. Thank you for listening today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. I'm Donelle, and here with me today is my mom, Marilyn.
You got me all snug as a bug.
And you might see some little ears pop up here because Scout is with us today. And so we're just here recording our podcast. We have some blankets today, Mom.
Oh, I love
This
it.
is a Christmas gift for you
Yeah.
from my sister, but this was a gift for me a while back.
Yeah. And I'm loaning it to you for a moment.
This is a very special blanket. It is made out of alpaca, which is actually a biohack. And that's what our topic is today, is biohacking. So we'll talk a little bit about this in our main segment today. But we hope that if you joined the newsletter, that you got your newsletter last week. If you didn't, please let us know so we can make sure you're getting that. You definitely have to add our email into your contacts so it goes right into your inbox. Otherwise, it might hit your promotional folder. It might hit your junk folder. And we don't want that, do we?
I want you to get our information.
So Mom is definitely had a day yesterday that was a good day.
I got an episode. So, those old movies when they get dizzy and they say, oh, she's having an episode. They wave their hanky.
We need to get you a hanky.
Well, I had an episode yesterday, but I'm better today.
She is better today. And so she went into AFib yesterday. So
the day before.
Or the day before, yeah. So we're just taking it easy and recording. And we're not fancy. We're not being paid for this. So we're just putting our good information out there, and you get what you get, right? So also last week, we talked a little bit about fats. Are they villains or heroes? And we would love to hear from you. So if something from one of our shows has started a new habit for you, let us know, because that's what we're here for. We want you guys to take the information we're giving you and go and implement it or research it more for yourself, for your family.
Yeah. And we hope you, and we'd love to know some things you do.
Help us build out some more shows
that has been helpful to you.
Mm-hmm. And then in your newsletter, you also got to do it yourself. So if you did the bath salts with the Breathe oil, take a picture of it and tag us on social media and we'll reshare it out there. That'd be really fun. So today's show is on biohacking basics, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. And we also have a fun garden tip for you towards the end of the show. And we have quite a few products that we're going to go through today, not promoting the products, but more talking about how these things can biohack, because chances are you probably already biohacking.
Well, as we talked about it, there were a lot of things we're doing that are considered biohack. I had to stop and think, I'm old school. What's biohacking?
Yeah, this is true.
So anyway, I looked it up and it had a lot of good ideas.
Yeah,
I was surprised. We do a lot of it.
We do a lot of it. So we're going to be back in just a moment talking to you about biohacking. But first, we're going to talk about movement.
Hey everyone, movement is great for anyone in any stage of life. Every episode, we will share tips on movement with Donelle, who owns a Pilates studio in Oklahoma and online.
All right. So movement, every week we want to bring you something with movement on our show. And you'll probably hear this over and over again. But I have been a Pilates instructor and in the fitness industry for a really long time. And so every week on our newsletter, you'll get a 10-minute video of some type of movement to incorporate into your life, right, Mom? Have you done the movement from the newsletter?
No? Well, give me a break. I've been in AFib for 2 days, and that means sit and do nothing. Run to the bathroom every little bit.
I wanted to share with you a little bit about movement for women that are moving into that. I don't know, when did perimenopause become a thing?
I'd never heard of it until this recent years, but it's starting probably between 45 and
No. Perimenopause can start in your late 30s and go all the way until your 50s.
it's a beast.
It's a beast. And like last week, what we learned about fats, or on our first episode, number 126, fats, if you're not eating the right amount of fats, you can really mess your hormones up. And going into what the low fat era did for a lot of people, it really messed up hormones. So we have a lot of hormone therapy
Repair.
and repair, but it's now being correlated back to something so simple as cutting all that out and not eating the right amounts of fat. So I do macro coaching, and probably the first thing I have to really educate on is how much we undereat. And when you undereat,
Eat? Oh, goody. Let's hear more about this.
a lot of people think that when they start a workout program, they need to eat less calories in, more calories burned, and then they're just magically going to build muscle composition and be skinny and all these things. And the American culture has really given us, what was the name of the model in your day that was real
Oh,
skinny?
Twiggy.
Twiggy. And that was what a lot of people in high school called me, was Twiggy, because I was so skinny. But that, or the Kate Moss era, like that, in the woman's mind, that is like the epitome of health, and that's not healthy. You can be skinny and be actually not really obese, but you'd be fat, because skinny fat, because you don't have the right amount of muscle on to protect your bones. You need muscle and you need fat in order to protect your bones, and you don't want your bones to turn into chalk. And so when you're not eating enough, your body's like, oh, we're starving, so we're going to hold on to this fat and start eating the lean muscle mass and eating the bone. Under eating is really, really not good. You have to learn how to eat the right amounts of proteins, carbs, and fats in order to build the right muscle mass. And this is imperative when you're in the perimenopausal state, because your hormones are changing. This is when that low belly fat comes on, because we're in a high cortisol phase, usually in that time of our lives too. You're running around chasing your kids. You're busy trying to build your career. You might be in the stage of life where you're either single and wanting to get married, or maybe you're going through a divorce. But all of those things are stress related things that push our cortisol levels up. You have to learn how to handle stress as it comes. And that's a lot of what the biohacking is going to be today too, whenever we get into our big topics. So what do you
So
think
the-
about all that?
So the movement, like when you walk every day, and
When you walk, you have to walk like you really should be working up to walking 60 minutes a day. And I walked every day in 2025, except for May. I was in Colorado for a few weeks and I walked there. And then there was like a couple of days,
it was just too cold.
it's almost too cold, especially for Scout. But there were a couple of days that I didn't walk for, I would say out of the 365 days, I didn't walk 20 days in Oklahoma. I can tell you how many days it rained. I can tell you how bad the weather was. A lot of people think that walking outside, they can't do it because of the weather. You can. I walked in almost every condition whenever I came home and it was snowing that day. I wouldn't walk that day. We just had to walk really slow. But in Oklahoma, sometimes it gets really below freezing, like 13 degrees, and we stayed inside those couple of
But
days.
it's a good movement.
It's a very good movement. And if you can work up to 60 minutes, after 15 minutes, your blood sugar starts to change. Your body starts signaling different. So your hormones will start activating in a different way. It's basically rewiring yourself. I would say walking is a very good movement exercise that almost anybody can do. And you don't have to walk outside. You can walk. Some mall walkers back in the day.
I think some people still go to the mall to walk. I've gone to Hobby Lobby and walked because it was too cold to walk outside.
And
Donnie and I walk,
Mhm.
and we walk out at Hagdom, and he walks farther than I. He has a watch,
A wearable.
and he has a wearable, and it tells him how many steps. I just walk what I can.
And there's a church, and you might want to look into this in your community. There's a church in Marlow where I live, and they have a big walking track in their gym, and anybody can go in there and just walk. I mean, that's a great place to go
place.
walk. So walking would be our movement section for today, and I'll put some more information in the newsletter. It really isn't as overwhelming. I also got a weighted vest halfway through the year, and I got a 16-pound vest, and I don't walk with it all the time, but I do walk with it. I got it because I thought it might help lose some of the weight that I'd put on, but I also have some neck issues and up in my thoracic spine, and sometimes the vest just pulls on it too much, and I can't teach. I have to be really careful with my vest, but I do think the vest is really beneficial. All right, and we're going to move into biohacking after we come right back after these words.
Hey everyone, movement is great for anyone in any stage of life. Every episode, we will share tips on movement with Donelle, who owns a Pilates studio in Oklahoma and online.
All right, Mom, let's talk about biohacking.
Well, biohacking, what a word.
It is a word.
I mean, I heard about this before today, but I remember when I'd see people say, we're going to talk about biohacking today. And I'd be like, what? I mean, like, what a word.
Well, and you hear hacks because you see those like little silly videos where it has that real fun music, and they're putting a silicone mold in they're doing their foot, and then they end up turning it into a lamp, and they're calling it a hack. By the time you finished all that, you could have just spent $10 on a lamp or something. But because so much is dependent on what you're seeing online, biohacking either sounds really exciting or very overwhelming. Did
Well,
it sound exciting or overwhelming?
In the beginning, it felt overwhelming to me because, well, first I didn't understand what they were talking about.
Well, because you're seeing pictures of ice baths. I really had wanted to get Mom and I some red light masks to put on while we were sitting but I just didn't have the ability to do that. But IV drips, supplements that you can't pronounce, people tracking every heartbeat like it's a competitive sport. These are all extreme biohacks, right?
They'd have fun tracking my heartbeat.
Especially the last couple of days. She's like, I'm in the 40s. I'm in the 60s. I'm 130.
So if they don't know what AFib does, it jumps real high and then goes real low and then in between. But when you look at my cardiogram, it's like, it is crazy.
It is crazy, like some kind of secret code. But let's just say this up front. Biohacking is not just for people that have a lot of money. Like those little red masks I'm talking about, those are like $350
Oh, wow.
per mask. A good one. Now, if you go on TikTok and you see them, you might see one for $20, but what are you getting? If you're going to invest in one of those, you need to spend the money. And I'm a salesperson. You're a salesperson. So here's a trick about sales. A lot of salespeople are going to give you a high priced item and a low priced item because they know you're going to pick right in the middle. So make sure when you're looking at things that you're not going, oh, it's the most expensive, it's the best. That's not always true. So, but biohacking at its foundation, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say for sure there's many things that don't cost.
So you're going to be so
already
surprised.
have it in your house.
And you might already be a biohacker. You might
Yeah.
leave this and like, you want a t-shirt that says I'm a biohacker. But at its core, biohacking is simply this: intentionally doing things that support how your body is functioning. You're just basically taking data that you learn about and applying it, and it actively changes how you're functioning. You've had to biohack a little bit with all of this newness in your
Yes,
life,
I have.
right? It's paying attention to things like your sleep. Mom has a sleep apparatus machine that scares Scout to death.
It's the whole
Like a
mask. It
giant
has a
elephant.
big hose, but I have to do it. And it was the one thing that would improve my heart the most. So it's improved from 33% to 65%, giving mostly the credit to getting good sleep, which we'll be talking about today.
And I wear, and so does my husband. I started with the Aura Ring, and the Aura Ring really has advanced from whenever I first got it. But my husband really likes these Garmin watches. It's funny because I used to work for Luke's Locker, and I would stand in front of the Garmin watch case and just wish that I could have one because they're not cheap. This one was about 335, and you can see it's like very aesthetic. Like I got the brightest blue turquoise. It doesn't match any out. So this was bought by my husband without my influence. I would have gone black. But this every morning I can see my sleep score. I generally sleep really well, and my sleep score is usually between 87 and 95. If it's below 80, I'm really stressed out. There have been some times that my sleep score has been around 50. Now I'm under. Most biohacks are not new. That's the plot twist. We just rebrand common sense and added a price tag to a lot of these things that are out there.
What a plan.
The big expensive side of biohacking is acknowledging that, but knowing that you can do a lot of things. For example, something that all of us probably are aware of by now, it's not a surprise, that ice baths are a biohack. And at the studio, Josh and I had talked about getting an ice bath to bring in because we have an infrared sauna, and the commercial grade ones were almost $10,000 for a decent one to bring in. And the more I researched, I thought, you know what? This isn't really one where I don't want to spend $10,000. And two, I don't necessarily think this biohack is actually good for all females. You can do the ice bath because whenever I did long runs, I would do an ice bath.
Well, I told you I didn't think it would be good for me to jump in a ice. I don't try to do things that shock my body.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to buy trouble.
Yeah. But whenever I would do long runs, I would do an ice bath after. And that was just getting some ice and putting it in a tub. It's the same thing. It's not I don't need a 10,000. So Aldi's has that aisle that's like the weird aisle. You go onto it and you can just find just about anything there. You're like, I wonder if I want this. And then all of a sudden it's there. Well, they had some ice baths this year, and my husband does do ice baths and they work very well for him. So it was just a little $15 tub that you just put all your ice in, and so instead of using the bathtub, we can do it outside, and then you can dump it out on the garden. But the ice bath for me was terrible. Whenever you have an underlying autoimmune disease or you're in a high stress state, like I have been in the last few years of my life, when I did the ice bath, and I'm talking where it was like 32 degrees, I immediately got sick. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember.
And I argued and argued. I was in a teacher training program with the lady that was in
tried
charge.
not to do it.
I really did. I tried not to do
But
it.
it
I
was
thought,
part of her credits.
yeah. She said, well, you need to do it or you're going to have to make up the hours. First of all, there was like 50 people there, and I was grossed out that we were all getting in the same water. So I went first. Well, actually, I ended up second. And I got super sick, and I was sick for about 5 days, which normally I only am sick for 2 to 3 days. But the thing that was really freaky was I couldn't feel my fingertips. That was in October. I didn't start feeling some of my fingertips until January.
That wasn't
And they had you under the water for 2 minutes.
We do want to weigh out, a biohack. Like I know that I have serious heart issues, so I'm going to pay attention and not do something, hopefully, that would harm me. So they would want to do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you might pick up something that works for you, but there may be other things that just won't work for you.
Yeah, and actually cool water really works for me. We go to Pagosa Springs every summer, and they have all these hot springs. You went?
Yeah,
Did you
I love
go?
it.
Yeah. And they have a cold plunge. Well, the river is like 52 degrees. So you go sit in that for like, I don't know, however long, 2 or 3 minutes. And then you go get in that worked great for me. But the 32 degrees did not work well for me. So you have to kind of learn where those where those things are and what your limitations are. But that's just one biohack. That was just one that really didn't work for me. And I like to explain that to people because just because something is super popular
It doesn't mean
doesn't
it's
mean
good
it's
for
going to.
you.
Do you remember the whole kale debacle and how kale was like this huge superfood and everybody was eating it? And then guess what happened? All these people with thyroid problems, what was happening to them?
Well, I know that Don couldn't take it because he couldn't have kale because of his one kidney, and it was too much protein.
So kale, when you have, I think it's whenever you have a hyperthyroid, if you eat too much kale, it makes it worse. It like kind of overactivates it or maybe it underactivates. I'm not a doctor, but it was bothering people that had thyroid issues and they thought they were doing something healthy. Just because something seems to be healthy doesn't always mean it's the right thing for you.
I actually was on the phone with someone that said they were going to hang out because they were running into the store to get all the information we get when we go out and read isn't always accurate either. So you have to weigh that out. But there's some foods Don's not supposed to have. So like spinach salad, we have spinach salad. I basically just have that like at a holiday or something like that because it was a family favorite, but Don can't have that. He couldn't have spinach 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We use Don's watch, his smartwatch a lot. And I mean, Donnie wears it, but it has the thing to measure my heart. And I noticed that some medical people kind of frown on it, but it was actually his doctor that told him to get the watch because at the time he had the really serious COVID and there were a lot of things that had to be monitored and they could monitor on his watch. And so we monitor my heart on his watch and it really helps.
I'm sure it does. Well, before we move into some basic biohacking, I want to talk to you about some biohacking conferences. There is the Biohacker Summit in Europe, which is a research-driven and data-focused. I love these. Like I've always wanted to go to a biohacking conference just because they just look so fun and there's a lot of tech. There's conferences like the Dave Asprey Biohacking Conference, which is typically in Austin. I think I've seen one in California too. Dave Asprey is a big biohacker. If you don't know who he is, you could just go start following him and start learning from him. Big stages, big ideas, big energy. And I think they'd be really fun to just go and see what's out there, what's coming out, because like the wearables, whenever I was saying I worked at Luke's Locker and I would look at the Garmin, at that time, the only thing it really did was your GPS. It kind of told you where you were when you were running, but it didn't have all these biometrics on it. That wasn't a thing. I'll never forget when my roommate got the Apple phone, the new iPhone. And he was so excited to take a video with it. And that was just so foreign to me. And he was Dylan. He was a
And
lot
I
younger
can go
than me.
back much farther than you. I can remember when Sophrona, your babysitter, said her grandson said that everyone would have a cell phone. And I was like, yeah, right. We're all going to have a cell phone.
But these big biohacking conferences are scientists, doctors, entrepreneurs, curious people who want to optimize health, longevity, and performance. I think if you ever get a chance to go to one, or if this is something that's of interest to you, I think they'd be really fascinating to go to. It's always good to learn. You just take the knowledge that you're learning and you apply it to the areas of your life that are applicable to you.
Well, it's certainly been helpful for diabetics. Now they don't have to prick their fingers every day. They've got technology that can let them know exactly what their levels are. It's very good for them.
Your little monitor for your
my oximeter.
So while there's value in learning, there's also some very interesting things that happen with biohacking. What do you think that is?
What? I don't know.
Mom, while there's a lot of fun learning at these conferences, there's something really interesting about this too. And Mom, while there's a lot of learning and pretty exciting things that happen at these biohacking conferences, there's also something really interesting.
What is that?
Almost every biohacking conference, no matter how advanced it looks, it eventually circles back to some of the same basics.
Well, I guess if we're talking common sense, common sense things, it is probably going to come back.
Like sleep, light exposure, blood sugar, stress, movement. And that's when you begin to realize something really important about biohacking. That even though there's very powerful biohacking conferences, you don't always have to get a ticket and go spend these extravagant amounts of money on biohack because you have everyday opportunities in your own home. And some of them don't cost anything at all. So if you've ever gone outside for fresh air, guess what? You've biohacked.
Yay.
If you've ever gone to bed earlier because you were tired, guess what?
I did that last night.
You biohack.
I did.
You're a biohacker.
I am.
If you've ever felt better after walking, stretching, praying, guess what? You biohack.
Woohoo.
Things like watching the morning sunlight or watching the sunrise or the sunset with your bare eyes, spending time in nature, forest bathing, grounding, dry brushing, castor oil packs, and gentle evening routines. These are all biohacks.
And everyone's probably doing some of it.
So
Probably everyone out there is.
yeah, and you just don't realize it because these systems support, or these biohacks support your nervous system, and that's what controls everything. Okay, so let's talk about watching the sunset or the sunrise with your bare naked eyes.
You know what? You and I learned this on a trip. We took a vacation, which is probably a biohack.
Yep.
To get away from everything for a little while. And with our friend Linda, we went to Sedona and we got a guide. We were with a group of people and we had a guide. And the guide talked about he hadn't been sick since he had been there. And so we were sitting close to him and we were asking him, well, what have you done? And he explained that he watched his circadian rhythm. What? Your what?
Your circadian rhythm.
Yes. And he talked about every day he watched the sunrise and the sunset, and he said he would do it barefoot he showed us the spot he liked to do the sunset, and he said he'd do it barefoot with his feet on the ground, so he was grounding. He was grounding, and then he watched the sunrise and sunset. Now, that was in Arizona, where it's warmer probably most of the time than here. Your dad and I tried to catch the sunrise every morning.
Yep.
And I love to catch the sunset. We don't always go back out at night, but over the lake. It is so beautiful. I take tons of pictures of it.
So she just is out there biohacking, getting dad to biohack.
And, and that circadian rhythm was such a good thing to learn. And so when I started having to take the meds that I have to take for my heart, they were very strict about me taking it the same time every day. And he said, and I asked him, well, that's puzzled us. Why does it have to be exactly the same time every day? And he said, well, it doesn't have to be, but it helps with your circadian rhythm. And that was exciting to me to hear that again. And he said it's that your body, they'll talk, some people just can't make it without coffee. And it's probably because your body gets used to habits that you're in. And when you don't do those habits, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And he said that my body accepts the medicine better if I take it the same time every day. So, I have alarms on my phone, biohacks with my phone.
She does.
And I have alarms set that go off at 8 in the morning and at 5 in the evening because that's when I have to take the meds.
So biohacking too is something walking Scout every day that I not understand was a biohack. And I think animals are just so neat because they do things naturally. And I call it downloading messages because in the mornings, Scout has had quite the health journey. And in the mornings, whenever we go for a walk, she literally will stand and listen to the birds. And her little ears go this way and that way, both ways. But through all the research I've done is nature is very healing and birds sing songs in the morning to each other. And that works with your circadian rhythm. And it helps kind of readjust everything. One thing that has made America so sick is we're indoors all the time. Under these terrible lights that we have, we don't have incandescent light bulbs anymore. We have the LEDs that are supposed to last forever, but they put out a wavelength that your brain is constantly, basically your nervous system is constantly on instead of off. And so it affects you deeply. And I've always been the type of person that I like the lights off, right? I like to read in the dark. There's a lot of things. I've always been very sensitive.
Heart better.
Yeah.
Turn the lights on.
Yeah. But as I've gotten older, we have learned that I have a pretty big light sensitivity to these lights in here aren't bothering me, but I know they're LED.
So I want to tell a story on you.
Sure. Tell a story. on
So
me.
lights have been a problem for Donelle. And if there's a lot of lights, she'll pass out. So and the other thing is lights with ceiling fan.
Yeah.
And if it's a hollow, if it's way,
Like, you know how like Walmart doesn't have like,
yeah, Walmart. But there was a new restaurant that we all like to eat at, but Donelle would almost pass out every time we went in, and we finally figured out it was lights. But that's not the story I'm going to tell. So she was
what restaurant was that?
and was that a Mexican restaurant in Yukon that we went to? It wasn't in Yukon. We drove to the city for it. Now they have one in Yukon. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, you would almost pass out almost every time we went in there. We thought we'd see her go, like, no, don't pass out. And it took us a while to figure out it was the ceilings and the fans. So when she was in Yukon, Donelle really hates wearing lipstick. The color guard all had to dress the same, and they all had to have ponytails, and they all had to wear this
Bright red lipstick.
So she was always a little stubborn about the football games anyway, but I'd go to sit and watch her at the football game. If you know me well, you know I'm not a huge football fan, but I would go to watch Donelle, and I would just think, oh, she's doing such a great job. And then I'd start thinking, wait a minute, how many girls are out there?
There was another girl that looked a lot like me.
And I would count the girls, and I'd go down and I'd say to someone, where's Donelle? She's passed out on the sideline. So it's the big lights.
Yep. They also make a noise too. Yeah. And not everyone can hear that noise, but yeah. So it's kind of crazy.
I just say, well, I'm going to go out and see if Donelle's laying on the sidelines.
I like to pass out. What can I say?
It was funny.
I mean, I have a bump on my nose from where I passed out so much, and
she
fell on my face. So.
Yeah, well, we had a step in our Geary house when we lived in Geary. There was a step like this, and she had to step down this much. And when she fell flat. And she fell flat off that step onto the cement floor, and there went her nose.
It's great for my glasses. It holds my glasses really well. Okay, so let's talk about basics that you can do. These are, can you say the word of this?
Quartz.
Well, it's rose quartz, but what these things are called? Squasha, washa.
I don't know.
We'll put it in the show notes. We don't know how to pronounce it.
You can get these several places, but I got these when I was going to
She's a biohacker.
Getting a facial massage.
Yeah.
And I bought these.
So these are a little trendy, not so much now as they were when they first came out, but you just go.
Well, you use this. Donelle, look, you use this part right here.
This part, I use these all the time.
You go up like this. I keep one in my bathroom.
I have some in my bathroom, but they're rollers.
And I like to use these. I find a spot to put around my lip. It's supposed to be
This is real scientific, too. Like, we really know what we're doing.
And technically, you want to go this way, don't it? You're going down. You want to go in
this
and in. I'm teaching her. Anyway, I'm not going to do the facial thing because I might do it wrong, but I do my neck most days because I keep one on my bathtub and it keeps it real cold. You're supposed to keep these in the refrigerator and use them cold.
They're cold. Ready.
They're cold just from laying over.
So, yeah. I'm just really surprised Mom has rocks, like crystal rocks in her house.
I love rocks. I'm a rock hound. I'm not specifically a crystal fan.
No. I was listening to Joe Burrow. She doesn't know who that is. He was a quarterback. But anyway, he was talking and they were interviewing him. I don't even know what the context of the interview was. He said, well, yeah, doesn't everybody have crystals in their house? It was really funny.
I like
He's just funny.
You know what? I like to hang the prisms up.
I do
and get
too.
the little,
I have one of those.
Where it puts rainbows dancing, and it makes me think of Pollyanna.
I love that movie.
We watched
this
it
was really good. I guess I need to learn how to do this.
Don't you have one of these at home?
No, I have the rollers.
Yes, I have the roller too, but this is different. I did ask when I was having my facials. I miss having things like that. I don't work anymore, so I don't get to do that. When I was having my facials and stuff, it's to wake up your muscles in your face, and I guess this would be doing that also. But that's why you go in and get a facial. It's to get get this all awake again and get.
So interested in face yoga because I could learn how to do that, and we could do a show on face yoga
Oh,
where you like do all the what she's talking about. What this does, you do all these like really crazy things, and it actually works. It would be a biohack.
I did like getting facials.
Okay, let's do another biohack. So
Well, I think this is a good one. And you know how you'll start doing something and then you quit doing it and then you start again. And when we say you might not have to spend any money, you probably have that. Like that, you probably have coconut. What's it called?
this is
Coconut.
refined coconut oil. Basically, you need to read the ingredients when you buy it, but it says organic refined coconut oil, and you just take a spoon, put it in your mouth, and swish
I put mine in a little
before
bowl.
you brush your teeth.
I put mine in a little bowl and I put some drops of essential oil in it. I use different essential oils.
So-
On guard.
Organic, get organic because you're swishing it in your mouth because you're getting all the bacteria out. So you do it before you brush your teeth,
And you do it for 10 minutes.
and don't spit it in your sink or down your toilet. Spit it in the trash can. So,
Yeah.
okay.
But it's called oil pulling.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it's
oil
called.
pulling. Not the lavender, grab the collagen. We're going to talk about NAD. So there is some biohacking out there with peptides and things like that. We're not going to talk about that because neither one of us have really researched that, and it's still fairly new. But this came out in 2022, and it has NMN in it, which helps you produce naturally more NAD. And NAD is a big peptide that people are taking right now. And this is something that we've been taking for, well, I've been drinking this every day since 2022.
And get to start when it first came out. I had
Right.
to wait till my heart got settled down.
Yeah.
And because I had to get it approved. And at the time, nobody was approving anything for me till they got everything
Which is
settled.
true.
But Donna and I both take this. I think it helps our knees because collagen.
Yeah. So this is collagen. So the best thing about this was my husband had us start taking collagen supplements before doTERRA came out with theirs. And he had done the research, and we needed a 5-blend collagen or something like that. And he went to the conference with me when they launched that one. And right before then, my husband's a firefighter. So he was going through in Oklahoma City. We have it's called Rivers, and it's a river that they are able to control the rapids. And a lot of people come there for different trainings, like the part of the 2028 Olympics are going to be held in Oklahoma City for some of that river sport
Wow.
part of the Olympics. But so he was in a training for rescue diving and
It is neat.
hurt his knee, got stuck up in an eddy and jammed his knee. And we were taking collagen, but we got that weekend that we went to the conference right after that happened, and it immediately helped him to where he does not let us run out of that collagen at all. Like when we get down to 10, he's like, you need to order more collagen because we're going to be out of it. So that was a big biohack.
That's a good one. Donna and I are both having trouble with our knees. Your dad took a fall, messed up.
Yep.
He's took the skin off his arm and bruised real bad. And I said, well, I think we're going to increase it.
Yeah.
We're going to do more.
Sometimes I'll take 2 in a day just because I do so much. But one thing I want to say about it is that as you age, you stop producing that NAD. And that's why those NAD, where some people are doing infusions, are very beneficial. I just choose to use this one. Ours helps you in the human study trials that they did. It helped them produce their NAD. That NMN helped them produce their NAD naturally by like 20-something%. So it was a pretty big increase.
You know, one thing nice about going to when we got to go to the conferences is like people will get up and give their testimonies because what they do before they put a product out to us, they have people sample it and they'll give their testimonies of how it helped them. And I remember being impressed by, sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
but I was impressed by what the people said from using that. So
Yeah.
Good collagen.
And now she's holding my favorite. So I'll say this. Whenever that doTERRA came out with I had told Josh, well, we'll invest in some really good collagen if by this year they don't come out with collagen. And they did. And then this year, because I use castor oil a lot. And this year they came out with our own version of castor oil, which I'm switched over. I was using a really good castor oil that was organic that I was buying. But if you don't know this about doTERRA, they are very good to the farmers. And like every time I use a doTERRA product, I know I'm helping someone that I will never meet in my life, but making their life a much higher quality. And this is one of those plants. In fact, in our newsletter this week, I will find the video about our castor oil because I was blown away. And this is actually less, and it came in a glass bottle than the one that I had been buying, and it lasts forever.
It does last forever because I'm trying to use up what I already had before I opened that bottle.
Yeah.
And
I opened it today.
my bottle's only about this big that I already had, and I use it every day on my knee. That's another thing I do on my knee. I put the castor oil on both knees, and this leg, my left leg, I fell down the stairs. My muscles are real tight in there, and I use castor oil, and I put different oils on. I used to do deep blue rub all the time, and I still use it, but I put different oils like copaiba and frankincense and and I put it on top of that.
Yeah.
But I have a hack that has really helped me.
Tell us.
Well, I have itchiest eyes. My eyes,
Flattened her eyes.
it's just itch.
Kind of what's it like feet.
My
ears.
eyes start itching so bad, and I just dig at them and dig at them. And I read to take castor oil and just put one drop right here, and it will stop the. Did, and I mean it'll help it for weeks. I only have to do it maybe 2 days in a row.
Well, there you go. Do
And
that
then-
itchy eyes, get you some castor oil.
Well,
This one.
I used to use our hormones from doTERRA, and they help me. But man, we order a lot of stuff, and so this lasts a lot longer. And
Yeah.
if this will work, I'm much happier with that idea. And
So in the email this week, which you can sign up in our newsletter, I'm going to put some castor oil packs and the little packs that I order off of Amazon, and then also a glow serum for your face, which has blue tansy, frankincense, the castor oil, and it has one other oil in it, which is basically the girl that created it says it's better than Botox. So I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to after this episode when I get the recipe in there. Because you have to go buy 2 other oils to mix with it. In my town where I live, there's a place called Alive and Well, and it's in the Duncan Tower downtown across from my chiropractor. But they have like bulk. Do you remember in California when we drove up to Seattle and we stopped at that grocery store and we went bananas in that
Yeah, we
grocery store
did.
with all the bulk. We were like, what is this? It was like not deodorant, dish soap. You just, they had a big thing and you just pump your own stuff. Remember that?
yeah,
And so that's what this store is. It's like a bunch of bulk. Like you can go buy your red clay, your bentonite clay. You can go buy
why have you never taken me there?
when you come up to
I
record.
am insulted.
I got a $100 gift card from there for Christmas.
Take me now.
Yeah. She's like, take me now. So I will put that, but there were 2 oils I bought in there, is why I'm saying that.
Well, she mentioned the pack. A lot of people don't know probably what to do with the oil pack because a lot of people put castor oil in their belly button.
And there's like a little sticker that you put over your belly button to hold it in there.
So if you don't know about castor oil, I mean, it's the rave right now.
Okay. So when I first started doing the packs, you can put packs on your arms. You can put packs around your belly, around your legs. First time, I don't always tell Josh what I'm doing. And I came to bed and he was like, what?
Oh,
I
I was
was like-
laughing on our show. It's good for you. It's a good biohack to laugh.
And he just pulled Scout really close to him and he's like, I don't know, Scout. I don't know. So funny. So you
That's
should
for the Western medicine.
yeah, because Josh comes from the medical side. His dad was a doctor. So, like, all this biohacking kind of stuff is newer to him. He tolerates it well. So, some other biohacks that we were going to talk about. This is the blanket. It's the alpaca blanket. I got it at in Oklahoma City, and they have them in your area too. But it's like a big Christmas show. Like in Waxahachie, the Junior League puts that on. I don't know who puts it on in Oklahoma City, but it's at the state fairgrounds.
You're not
and
talking about the Fair of the Heart.
No, not the Affair of the Heart, but they might be there too. But you can find an alpaca vendor because there's a ton of them. Alpacas, there's something about their fur that puts out a higher frequency that's healing. And so when you have, I got this from Mom when she was going through her first knee thing, and we put it on her knee. Now, it didn't magically heal her knee, but it probably helped a little bit. I love, and I also sleep on grounding sheets, and my husband swears by them. So I'll put the link for that in there too. But you just buy the full sheet for your bed, and it needs to be okay. So, like, I'm not an electrician, but you know how like your plug has the two little
And there's
prongy
a hole
things,
in the
and there's
middle.
a hole in the middle. Well, that
That's the
hole
grounding.
is the grounding that goes to the ground. And when you put the grounding sheet in that, and then you should sleep where you have some sort of contact with skin. And Scout loves the grounding sheet. She will just go, and I have like one that I put underneath my feet, a grounding pad when I'm working, and she will come and lay on it whenever I get it turned on.
So grounding, we need to explain that a little bit because there's a lot about different things about grounding. Because going out and hugging a tree,
I love to hug trees.
hug a tree. If you can walk barefooted, there's somebody that discovered that one of the things that's wrong with Americans is that we all wear rubber-soled shoes.
Yep.
And if we will get to where our feet can touch the ground, it could be cement too, which is puzzling in a way
That
to
is
me.
pu-
Well, it's made with sand. I don't know. But cement can give you some grounding. Grass gives you grounding.
Grass is great.
Putting
Unless
your
you're
feet in a
stickers.
creek. You
Yep.
know,
We love to do that.
I always, they're always, no matter where we go, and there's a creek, my shoes are going to come off my feet and go be in the water. And they're going like, there she goes. There goes Mom. She's got her feet in the water. I love to do that. Dawn and I go out in nature all the time. We do a lot of it from our car, but we bird every day.
Every day.
Well, most every day.
Most every day.
Not when you're native.
No. But back to hugging a tree. So trees take in all the bad and put out good. And so that's where that like hugging a tree kind of comes from. Because if you're really sad, you can just go hug a tree.
Now, I really haven't done it. Maybe I should do it one day. But I love trees. I sold trees for a living for years. And I have always, all my life, been fascinated with trees. So I can tell you that when I was a kid, I used to find hollowed out trees and crawl in them and stay there a lot.
It was very grounding for you.
I imagine it was, but I think now about the bugs that were probably in there and could have been in there with the snake, but that's what I did when I was a kid.
We do an exercise in Pilates called hug a tree. So you hug a tree, you open out, you hug a tree. So you can even get some movement.
And we might say that, I know that we talk about oils because we use them all the time, but some of the oils that help us balance our emotions,
Our tree.
they have tree oils in them.
Okay, so Josh and I cleaned out a closet this last week, and I don't know why we have so many bags. I probably took, doTERRA, every conference you get a backpack, and I took 7 backpacks to Goodwill.
Wow.
Then I had like 2 other bags, and then we had like 5 gym bags. Like, talk about consumerism. But he was going through the bags before I put them in the Goodwill pile, and he pulled out oils. I had some deep blue because I put oils in every one of my bags. One of the bags had white fur, and it was halfway full, and I was like, "Give me that!" White fur.
It's discontinued, and it's kind of equivalent to frankincense.
Yeah, it's like a cheaper version. But you put it up your spine when you have a virus, and it is wonderful.
Like when we talk about balance, we're not. I mean, we're not trying to promote that. I'm just telling you that balance is made with a lot of tree oils, like not one tree oil, but different ones. Like fur, white fur is just made from white fur. Balance is several trees, and good for you.
Then we are going to talk really quick about sleep, and then that's the basics of biohacking. I think most of you probably do more than you realize. Hopefully some of these things today are like, wow, I really I can go outside and look at the sunrise and the sunset.
Well,
But sleep,
one of the things I read was to try to have 15 to 20 minutes of the first morning suns. Take your coffee outside and drink your coffee outside. Or if you're a gardener, walk through the gardener.
Or
with
walk your dog.
walk your dog, some kind of get outside.
we
Or
said.
bird, as Dawn and I do, and
Yeah.
watch.
So sleep is super important. And mom has been told that the sleep apnea that she had did some of the most damage to her heart. And if
Mhm.
you have a loved one that snores like the roof is going to come off the house, you need to go get them into a sleep study and find out what's going on.
Probably 20 years ago, I went for a sleep study. They told me how many times that I wasn't breathing, but told me I didn't qualify. Well, now after hearing this many years later, they think that I have my heart. I've been in heart failure 15 to 20 years for my heart to be as damaged as it was. Now I think they were telling me that my insurance wouldn't cover it.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, oh, good.
I
Now
don't need a machine.
I don't need a machine. It's not going to cost me more money. Now I'll just tell my family that they said, no, I didn't qualify.
So it's not just snoring, it's the stopping the breathing at night. I mean, snoring definitely have something going on, but you may or may not know this, but a cold room helps your sleep and you repair while you're sleeping. But going back to the macros, when you start to learn how to eat properly, you're not going to wake up in the middle of the night as much. Having your sleep machine helps you not wake up in the middle of the night as much. When you snored like you did, your throat was always dry.
Well, I wake up with a dry throat now because you can put water in these machines, but I don't because remember that guy that we knew that he got a fungus in his lung, and so I don't put the water in. Some people do. It's fine if you do, but just because I knew that. But I wanted to say mine was, I'm on a BiPAP. There's a CPAP and a BiPAP. A BiPAP what they told me, I wasn't getting the air coming in and I wasn't able to blow the air out. So
You were a mess.
I was a mess. And so
we knew because
listen, I hate it. I hate it. I am grateful for my machine, but it is annoying. And people get these machines and they stop using them because it is annoying. It's invasive and it's a lot. You see what it looks like.
Yeah, it scares scalp to death.
when you
Okay,
find out-
biohacking conferences, you got to come up with something a little bit easier to sleep in than that machine. Come on now.
Actually, they have come up with some things easier, but I had one girl tell me she was really glad that I chose what I chose rather than the new things because they're set for so many sleeps, so many nights, and then it just quits. So it's non-invasive. It's something they put inside you, and it's electronic basically, but it only has so many times it works, and when it's done, and there's not a warning system. So some people, I'm not a person that has to be on it or I die. Some people, they have to have their sleep machine or they're going to die. And I'm not that person, thank God.
Thank goodness, yeah. But sleep, you need to turn off your devices. Really?
Devices?
Yep.
So I get to turn off my sleep machine?
No. That little cell phone. I have a red light, so my screen on my phone blocks a lot of the blue light because I work a lot from my phone. But at night, you need to shut it down. Put it away, no TV. You need to have no TV in your bedroom. You really need to go back to an alarm clock, and you don't use the alarms on your phone. I don't really use an alarm. I wake up naturally between 5 and 6 every day when Josh is not home when he's on shift. I don't have my cell phone next to the bed. It is in the other room. Josh isn't quite on board. He has tolerated the castor oil packs, but he is not quite on board with the no cell phone in the bedroom. But then get a diffuser, put on some nice calming.
That's probably why you had this out.
Well, that's our oil we're going to talk about today in a minute. And then so hold on. So you do that diffuser, and then you start winding down about 30 minutes before you go to bed, and then you'll sleep so much better. A cool room. There are cooling sheets that you can buy now too. Those are really awesome. But your sleep is imperative. Someone has put out there, no one's ever died because they didn't get enough sleep. And I beg to differ from that, because you may not die from lack of sleep, like you didn't get any sleep and you die, but you are going to have you're going to make really bad decisions from lack of sleep. It messes up your chemicals in your body. If there is any kind of chemical imbalance in your body, any kind of mental disorder, it makes it much worse.
If you're not sleeping, you're laying there thinking of things, and that's causing chemical
stress. You're keeping your nervous system.
What a mess. It's
just a mess.
just ongoing.
And I think that is the first thing I would biohack, is learn how to get adequate sleep. And that will change your health for sure. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to you about our oil of the week and a garden tip.
Did you know that Marilyn and Donelle have educated on essential oils since 2013? Each week, we will highlight an oil. In our newsletter that comes out on Fridays, we will have a DIY with our oil we spotlight. Here's today's oil.
All right, welcome back. So we're going to talk to you about a garden tip and then our oil of the week, which is lavender, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So what garden tip do you want to leave them with today?
Well, you know what? I learned something. Paul, this is my going on my fourth year on my wellness journey, and I've learned to watch a lot of YouTubes.
Yes.
And I watched YouTubes on onions last year because I was raising onions inside to put out. It was my first time to do that. But I watched this on cut and come again onion. So what is that, Donelle?
I'm assuming common sense. You're going to cut them and they're going to come again.
She has great common sense. Okay, so what you do, like if you've gone to the grocery store and you've bought a bundle of onions and you're only using the greens, maybe Rena uses greens all the time. That's one reason I decided to try this, because she's always bringing home like 5 and 6 bundles of onions because she does a lot of Asian cooking. And they throw the green onions on the tops of their soups and stuff like that, And so you just buy that little bundle of onions. Some call them spring onions. Some call them, there's different names for them in the grocery stores. But the little bundles that cost about $1.15 or so. And you buy a bundle and you use the greens, cut them off. And then they're coming a rubber band, and you leave the rubber band around the bottom of them. And then you just go out to your garden and plant that whole bundle. Don't even take the rubber band off. In a week, they'll be that tall. And then you just cut and they come again. I know, it is amazing. And I don't know why. I had never heard of it before, but I had never heard of it before. And so I tried it and it worked. And I probably have 15 or 20 planted out there now, because even though I grow them, your niece still buys some from the grocery store. She said, Grandma, I couldn't resist. They were on sale. Okay.
It's such a girl thing to
Well,
do.
she's not here much during the day. So walking out in the garden at night's probably not too exciting if she needed some. But I can get lots of green onions very quickly from the garden.
Yep.
So when she does splurge and buy some from the grocery store, she knows to put them by my compost, and I'll go out and plant them. And we have more onions. She's
sweet. Take that out.
Did you already take lavender?
We're going to tell you now. All right, we're going to show you something real cool about Mom's little couch thing. So you just push this little button, and then it turns into this massive recliner. Mom's already got hers out.
This is a sleep hat. Watch this. It goes all the way down. It's a great place to take nap. Scout nose.
Nose.
Then there's 2 buttons. One raises your head.
So this is a great oil for sleep. And it's lavender. Lavender helps your parasympathetic nervous system come into action. so it calms you down. We call this the Swiss Army knife of essential
because it
oils.
does so much.
Does so many things, and we'll put some of that information in our news.
Let's tell them a couple of things.
Sure.
You in the kitchen and you burn yourself. What are you going to do?
Use the lavender first.
And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if you want a good night's sleep, when do you start using lavender?
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's right.
Lavender is also really good to, in the kitchen. You can use this in some of your recipes too.
Oh, yeah. Or you could make lavender sugar
Lavender sugar.
because we all want to eat sugar.
At least make it taste yummy. Lavender is an oil that just promotes calmness, and our lavender comes from Bulgaria, in doTERRA.
Wait, one more. We have to tell them one more. Fire ants.
I didn't know that. Oh, when you get bit by a
When
fire
you
ant.
get bit by a fire ant, immediately put the oils on. I have oils in my truck. Donelle, anyone that would have seen me would have died laughing, but it really happened. So I was trying to get this great shot of this very unusual bird. So I kept going farther out, and Dawn was like staying up at the car, but I was going down. It was on a dead log, and I was getting closer, and I was standing there taking pictures, and all of a sudden I realized I was in a fire ant den, and I had my pants off before I got to the truck, the car. I guess we were in a car that day, and I was running up the hill, tearing my clothes off.
See, it does get exercise when they're birding. This is a great story.
And I knew I had the lavender, and I was saying to Don, lavender. He wasn't going to help me. He was dying
I
laughing.
bet he was.
And I was just pouring lavender. I had fire ants everywhere. It was like the worst ever.
Do you remember that guy that came and toured our garden?
I
He was
remember that guy.
allergic to fire ants.
Yeah, and he said, you don't have fire ants in your garden, do you?
This is
And he had
Texas.
driven from Dallas. So we were like, he had to go to the hospital when he got bit by
Yeah.
a fire ant. He said, do not go in our garden. Whatever you need, we'll go get it for you.
Yeah, I forgot
It
about
was
that guy.
it was a chef that came out to look at our garden. But yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, so really great oil, and we love it. So your do-it-yourself project this week will have something to do with lavender. Too bad we don't have a video of that.
I am so glad no one drove up. It was on the main road, like when you're going in to Hagerman, so anyone could have driven by. But let me tell you, when you've got fire ants in your pants, you rip the pants off.
Funny. Well, and my first date with Josh, we were hiking at it's called Mount Spot where we live, and he was hopping over big boulders and I slipped. Do you remember that? I scraped I really did a number on my ankle. When we got back to the truck, he was like, "Oh, I have some," he always has medicine and stuff. And I was like, "No, I got lavender and rose oil. I just put it on there. I just hacked my ankle right there." And I didn't complain at all. It took a while to heal because it was in a bad place to heal.
Yeah, in
Well,
stretches.
it was bad. I have pictures of that. We will not put that out there because that was nasty when I did that. So yeah, thanks for listening. We hope you learned to biohack. Maybe you already are. And next week we'll be back and we're talking about inflammation, foods that are inflammatory and what it does to your
My
mind.
hips hurt.
My
My
shoulder
knees hurt.
Y'all have a good week.